good. How are you?
We're good. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Setting up a filter here.
Yes.
So you can look fab.
Ooh.
We already
Love
fab.
it.
No need no
I love
filter.
it. How have you guys been doing? How's your day been?
Okay, thanks. How's yours been?
You know, work.
Yeah, life.
Wank. But I'm interested to know how's the lockdown been treating you?
I mean, everything's obviously just been like super slow, but we were gone for a while. From Joburg, we came back maybe like a month ago, and ever since coming back, we've kind of like started getting back into the flow of things slowly but surely. So things are happening in the background, but it's not as dope as it could be because of lockdown.
It's terrible. Lockdown's terrible.
But there's not much that we've got to complain about.
Yeah.
Except the fact that it's quite a tricky time and people are obviously losing their loved ones and whatnot. Our hearts go out to them. And yeah, other than that, you're just keeping safe, being positive, and yeah.
All the time, yeah. And so I'm interested, you guys, how do you think the music industry is going to change post lockdown, you know, in this new COVID world? How do you think the way that things are done in the industry is going to change, if it is going to change at all?
Well, I think if anything, this has shown that like it's almost, in a way, it's given like your more independent artists a chance to like level the playing field a little bit, because like now the internet's our main thing, and for a lot of independent artists like us who like will thrive off of the internet, and the internet's our main way of like reaching people because we don't necessarily have the support of like TV and radio. We find that in a way it works in our favor, and like people are more in tune with us now than maybe they were before. So I don't know, maybe the playing field might be a little bit more level after this. And yeah, it's given us an opportunity to like be, how can I say, like, I don't want to say at the same level, but you know, just as heard as anybody else, because all there is the internet. Right?
Okay, yeah. So should we be expecting more content from you on the lockdown? Would you guys be open to performing like an unplugged session of your EP? I think that would be dope if you guys do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying, we can't really wait for like to be hit up by television to go do a live on TV or anything like that. So we obviously have to kind of like make means, and we've got the internet, so we definitely do need to think about doing a bit more performances online. But then at the same time, you kind of have to make sure that what you are producing is quality and not just copy paste of, you know what, if I've seen this live Instagram performance, I've seen them all. So we've already done one. Maybe how long ago was it?
Like 3 weeks, a month.
About a month and a bit ago.
Yeah.
We also don't know the time and COVID. So yeah, we've done one already, and we just kind of feel that with the next one, it would definitely have to be like a step above the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. What have you learned about yourselves during this period of lockdown? Because it has forced us to kind of, you know, reflect. You don't have a groove to kind of like distract you. You don't have work to distract you, and you're just coming to terms with yourself. So I'm interested to know, what are some of the things that you've learned about yourself during this lockdown?
To speak for both of us first, then speak for myself. Both of us, we are homebodies in any case, you know, so like we weren't really like in the streets too much before this, but like when this hit, we both looked at each other and were like, "Bruh, we took our youth for granted. We should have been in the streets." Because now there's no option. So definitely that for both of us. And then for me personally, I think it's just like I'm definitely gonna take things a lot less for granted after this, and like prioritize relationships and the relationships that I really hold dear to me, and make sure that I make time to see people, to be with people, to, you know, better my relationships, whether it be family, whether it be friendships. I think that's something I'm really taking away from this, that maybe I was a bit too focused on myself and my career, and not necessarily like my relationships. So that's one thing for me.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same when it comes to like taking our freedom for granted, and just if it would be crazy to think that, you know what, it's not a big deal or whatnot, but it is really a big deal. The fact that we can't do the things that we took for granted when before this pandemic hit. So yeah, it's definitely just like hoping that everything gets better, obviously in time, and not taking the things that we have, such as our freedom and going out and seeing friends and loved ones, for granted.
Those are important lessons. Very important. Well, let's move on to the work that you have put out already. You dropped the music video for Iz'thunzela last week, and I gave it glowing reviews because I thought it was amazing. I thought it touched on like things that are not really looked at, you know, in music a lot of the times, you know. And if you venture into that playing field, you have to be a really brave artist to do that, you know, because there's a lot of like taboo. It's quite taboo to speak about such things, you know. So let's talk about the music video. Why did you choose to shoot the visuals for that particular song off the EP?
Okay, so initially we didn't, like, that wouldn't have been our go-to to shoot a music video for if like there was no lockdown and all of that stuff. But because the song, like you said, and that sort of feeling now would be the plenty people are in that place and having to really, like you said earlier, deal with themselves and face themselves. So yeah, it became like it's sort of, initially we were planning a music video for Endaweni, trying to still make it work in this crazy situation. But then we were like, what would be more like how could we make people see themselves in us a bit more, and, you know, put ourselves in a situation that lots of people are in, and that's at home and in your bedroom or in your house. Yeah, it's true that really stuck out to us, and we were like, yeah, let's do a music video for this. That's basically how it came about and why we chose that one, because it's time to kind of deal with those things and speak to those things. And it was also Mental Health Awareness Month when we did shoot the music video, and initially we wanted to take it release it in Mental Health Awareness Month, which was May, but then obviously life and things happen, you know, so yeah, we ended up taking it out in June. But because it was Mental Health Awareness Month, because a lot of people are having to deal with themselves right now and really face their things, we decided to shoot a music video for that song.
And just to speak on maybe artists not kind of like taking that leap of like, oh, this is me at my core, and not, you know, like most artists, like you say, would rather just like make sure that whatever that they're putting out is something that's, I don't like, the usual, or something that's more happy, that makes people feel happy, and kind of like sugarcoats things. We as like, you have to kind of like push the envelope and be vulnerable, and not necessarily just like, you know, with these people that have our shit together all the time, when it's not everybody that does. If anybody does, actually.
Nobody does. Yeah.
I don't think everybody has their shit together as it would seem online, as it would seem on music videos and that kind of thing. So we always about just, you know, not stepping out of the status quo and making sure that whatever we're doing pushes us personally and pushes the industry and challenges different things. And I mean, like, there have been other artists who have been kind of like highlighting the same thing of like mental illness, and I'm not that okay, guys, but we continue either way. So yeah,
Yes,
like
yes.
that's definitely something that we look to do in our music videos, and Iz'thunzela and this music video has kind of been like the step towards that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's unpack the song a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the song. And is it something that either of you went through personally? Or did you know anybody that went through, you know, and by this personally, I'm talking about Iz'thunzela, you know, from an African spirituality perspective. Just unpack it a little bit for us.
Yo. Okay. Okay, so the song, firstly, to where the song was written. The song was written when I was pregnant, and I was going through a really like tough time in my pregnancy, really struggling with depression, and like because it was an unplanned pregnancy, I was really having to accept the fact that I was pregnant, and you know, and work on my mental and try to celebrate it instead of being sad about it. This was just me being real, you know, like I wasn't ready, you know. And it really, I am someone that struggles with depression, chronic depression. And so, yeah, it started from that place. And while writing it, it went back and forth between being about that and also being when I was younger, having gone through some, when I was younger in particular, I used to kind of, yeah, this is hectic, but I used to kind of see things when I was younger. But this is just the truth. Like, I used to see things when I was young. I used to see things in my passage. I used to see things in my room. And it was a big thing, my parents helping me through it. And I got help. I went to psychologists, you know. I've been through quite a lot of stuff when it comes to mental illness. And by the time I met Kat was a point where I had really dealt with my stuff. And so I was fine for a while, but then I think when I got pregnant with all the hormones and all of that stuff, like things started resurfacing. Like there was times where I would see stuff again during pregnancy, and I think, yeah, just the hormones and everything, just the shock, it just all came back. And so that's my personal experience and how the song came about for me. I don't usually write out choruses or like stuff like that, but with this one, it started off as a song about me, and then Kat came in, and then you can talk about yourself.
Yeah, for me, it was pretty much, I wouldn't say the same, but kind of, I think a lot of the reason why yours and I connected was because growing up, we kind of had the same experiences and went through the same kind of challenges. And as a man, you don't grow up speaking about those kind of things. And I found myself more and more just like understanding myself a bit more, understanding the way that my mind works. And it's definitely something that we speak a lot about it in terms of like mental illness. We also are suffering with depression. Myself with borderline personality disorder, which is what we kind of base the music video around. And it's basically just the struggles that we had, and we basically have the same struggles. Obviously not entirely the same, but a lot of the time to each other in different ways. So when it came to writing about this, I heard the inspiration. I really liked what Yoza did, so it was easy for me to jump on and add my little 2 cents there and make it her half, my half, making it a whole kind of thing.
I had no idea that Kat has borderline personality disorder, and I had no idea about your history with depression. So I'm curious to find out, how do you guys strike a balance and support each other when it's going through the most when it comes to the mental health aspects?
Is there a balance? Like,
yeah, that's tricky.
It's
Can I answer first?
Okay, go.
I would say that in the beginning, I think he needed to lean on me a lot more than I did him. I think when we met, I had really dealt with my stuff quite a lot and learned my coping mechanisms and all of that. I'd been on medication, I'd been off medication, I'd figured out my balance of if I want to be on medication or not and all of that. And when we met, he was still coming to terms with what was going on with him. And I think for the first half of our relationship, I think I supported him the most, because it was the world of mental illness was also new to him. The language was new, everything was new. And so I think God put us together in that time for such a reason, because I was able to share some of my experiences and he kind of like learned more about what he was going through and dealt with it. And then as we've gone on, I think we both have a better understanding of mental illness now, the language to use, the space to give someone when they're dealing with their thing, the support. Sometimes it's not about words and fixing a problem. It's about being there with your physical self. And it's not a perfect balance. We're not going to lie and say like, we've got it down. It's perfect, but it's definitely there. And we're still working on it. We work on it every day. And
I mean, like, it's like we was saying, for me, it kind of like was something that is new and not really knowing the kind of language to use or how to actually deal or speak about it. But we kind of found a place where we could both be comfortable about it, and we were here to help each other, and she helped me out a lot. And after that, I could also, try and recognize when she might be struggling in a certain area, and I'll then have to like back up and help her, which like this is something that she showed me how to do, kind of thing. And like she's saying, she was able to kind of like teach me like some of the things that people who struggle with something would need at the time. And I would also then learn from that and say that, okay, cool, this is me when I'm going through this. Please help me in this and this way.
Oh, that's dope. That's amazing. That's really dope. Now I'm interested.
Guest.
Hey, let's see. Hello. Hi. Oh my God. She's so cute. Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome.
He's awake.
Now I'm really interested. Do you guys practice African spirituality? Are you guys ngabantu besiko, or do you embrace that part of your culture as South Africans?
Yes, definitely. I mean, in terms of practicing, it would definitely be more our parents, but what we've learned is that we need to embrace it, like whether it's Christianity, as you know, like a lot of us come from Christian backgrounds. We embrace that too. And a lot of people feel that if you are Christian, then you can't necessarily embrace izinto zamasiko, that kind of thing. Whereas we kind of see both of them as these beautiful things that don't necessarily like look the same, but essentially are the same. So yeah, we definitely embrace izinto zamasiko.
Right. The sound of the EP is very like it's very spiritual. There's a lot of like gospel overtones. The production is big. I got to hear yours range and like the power behind her voice. There's a lot of that. So let's talk a little bit about the EP.
Okay.
So the producer, Kurt Gilbert, our dude that's produced on it, did a very, very good job to kind of like put the canvas down in order for us to, for me to say what I feel, and for yours to put down the powerful vocals also.
Yeah, that's the first thing. And then from our first project, to us it was always like an experiment and trying to figure out what works best when we're together on a song, because we had never been together on songs before. So that was really just trying out, okay, when we do this, what's it like? When we do this, what's it like? And for us, this project was, we found it now, and you know, this is what it sounds like, or this is where it's going, type of thing. And yeah, I think the first project was more like a mixture of everything, just trying to figure out what we like best, what works best. And this one is really like, as you're saying, it's more cohesive. And we also, there was a lot more planning that went into it, because now we had learned from the first one how to work together, what works best, you know. And so, yeah, this is, yeah, like you said, you can definitely hear that, you know, it's more mature. And that, I think, comes from the planning. It comes from the fact that there's so much more thought that went into it. It's not just like, oh, here's a beat, let's just see what happens. It's more like, let's talk about what this instrumental means. What does this music sound like? What message are you getting when you listen to it? Okay, what are you gonna say? What am I gonna say? It's really much more thought out. And so that's where the maturity of it all comes from. And yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about, like, what are some of the things that you've learned about yourself while you were in the process of making the EP? I know you were like heavily pregnant while during the process of recording the EP. Yeah. But I am interested to find out what are some of the things that you learned about yourself during the process of making the EP?
What I learned about myself, what I learned is that Kat's a very good partner. I knew that, but I just needed that reminder. And then secondly, I learned that you know, like I'm good at what I do. There's obviously like a lot of doubt that comes in after. Look, I dealt with depression in the pregnancy for the first 4 months. After that, when we were recording, by the time we were recording the EP, I was fine. It was more during the writing that I wasn't okay. And I learned that I'm strong. I'm a badass. Like, I was making someone. Was making a person, right? Yes. And I was still doing the most, you know? Like, I was out there. I was singing in front of a mic. I was, you know, planning everything. Also, like, I'm borderline OCD, so like I plan to a T, and everything needs to be a certain way. Cat knows, and he gets annoyed. But I also learned that, yeah, like I'm really good at doing that. And yeah, I think for me it was a very empowering experience, and I saw myself, I saw my worth, I saw that I'm good at this, I saw that I'm meant for this, like regardless of the circumstance, you know, like I can still push through and I can still do it, and this is definitely my calling. So that's what I
learned. For me, I learned that so going into the second project, you know, you kind of have, like you were saying, doubts about do I have the reach, do I have the range for this kind of thing, and coming into the projects, just hoping that the creativity would come out and the words would come out the way that you want them to come out. And after recording it, it actually did. And the project literally sounded like how we had planned for it to sound. So as soon as we finished it, we were like, flip, actually, we can actually do this, and we can even work on an album, because that's obviously the ultimate goal. And after working on this and hearing people's feedback, a lot of people like yourselves would like tell us that, yeah, we like how this one sounds compared to the previous one. It kind of validates us. So this project was really a stamp of approval and like validation that, yes, you guys actually can put your minds to something and you can achieve that something. And the first EP wasn't like a fluke, because firstly, the first EP, we didn't expect it to do what it did. Like, you know what I mean? It didn't. It surpassed our expectations by far. And it got us to a place where we are now considered as musicians and not like, oh, new kids on the block kind of thing. And yeah, which is why we actually decided to name it Endaweni, because we came from a place of uncertainty and like experimental, can it work, to realizing that yes, it can work. And this is kind of like where we take the step forward instead of kind of like, you know, testing waters. So yeah, that's also why we named it Endaweni.
Yeah. Now your sound has like a new age kwaito feel. And I was very curious while listening to Endaweni. you kind of departed a little bit from that sound. Would you still consider yourselves a new age duo or a new age artists? New age kwaito artists, my bad.
Yeah. In terms of the new age kwaito thing, that's definitely not a title that we gave ourselves. It's more a title that people gave us. So we've always said that our music draws influence from kwaito, but it also draws influence from hip hop, neo soul, R&B. You know, a lot. It has a lot of elements in it, and so I think maybe in the first project the kwaito thing was more more prevalent. And it's not to say it's gone. You're still gonna hear that a lot, you know. But I think with this one, we drew more from hip hop and neo soul, which were the genres that we were in separately before we came together. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, like, I don't want to say we're not a new age kwaito duo, but I also don't want to say we are, because we never came in saying we're a new age kwaito duo. We came in saying we draw influence from kwaito and other genres, and then people were like, new age kwaito. Because I also think people want to hear that. People want you.
Yes.
People want you to be new age kwaito also.
Yeah. Wow. So, you guys are new parents. Congratulations.
Thank
you made a beautiful human being.
Thanks.
How has being new parents kind of changed your worldview, especially considering the fact that, you know, COVID-19 is wreaking havoc in the world? But like, how has your worldview changed as individuals, and secondly as artists?
As individuals, I think for myself, it's definitely kind of taken my mind away just naturally from things that don't need to bother me, kind of thing, because as humans we tend to worry about things that we don't necessarily have to worry about. So having a child, I've realized that my only worry should be ubayete, not necessarily you know, like just like usual human worries, like things that you actually just waste your time on, things that you might not have control over. Just, you know, like for me, it's really put me on a pair of train tracks, basically. Just like we need to keep going forward. There's no time to second guess things. We just need to think about something, do it, and your only worry should be your child. And as musicians, it hasn't really changed anything. It's just there's way more inspiration. Like when you look at these cheeks, you're just like, bro, I can put down a hot 16 right now because of these cheeks. And yeah, that's pretty much what's changed in terms of me as an artist.
Yeah, same. I mean, as a musician, it's changed. As an artist, it's changed nothing. It does make me want to work harder though, and want to like make sure that like the back end, the business side of Darkie Fiction is solid, so that, you know, we make sure that there's income, because a girl's gotta eat. So definitely like that part of it. I've changed. Like I've always been focused, but I think I'm more focused. And then just as a person, I think I'm way more. I think I'm actually calmer now that I have a child. To some extent, I worry less about things. My main thing is stay positive. I need to be the things that I'm trying for her to be. I need to be the things that I'm teaching her. Positivity, you know, not letting like negative vibes get to you, like being free spirited. I think it's making me more free, more like bringing me back to my true self and like my core, which is freedom and like positivity, because that's what I want her to see and that's what I want her to be. So yeah, I think it's definitely making me a better person.
That's amazing. A question just came in. Bati, when are we going to hear Bayete on a song?
Sorry.
As soon as we say Kula and she sings, then she's there. Literally.
Yeah. Then
it's not really
it's up to her.
It's up to her. Well, guys, it's so dope to chat to you. I've definitely witnessed your growth from, you know, your first offering to your second offering, and I am in awe. I'm so excited about the stuff that you guys are working on. Now I want to know, if you had to put into context your growth and your evolution, how would you go about that?
It's a lot of initial testing the water. now we're at a point where we are sure of ourselves, and we know our worth, and we know what we can do.
Yeah, and it's only the beginning. Like, this is nothing. I just want to tell you that this is honestly nothing. We have so much planned, and I think honestly, like, we've just figured out Darkie Fiction now. Like, we finally feel like we know what Darkie Fiction is, because it's not just like trying this, trying that. We've actually figured it out now. So it's just starting, really, for us.
Well, that's incredible. All the best with everything. Thank you so much for giving us your time and for engaging with us.
Thank you so much.
We can't wait to see more from you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Suze Kipan. You guys are always
Bye.
just like showing us love, and we appreciate it.
We love you. Yeah.
Oh, we love you. Thank you.